All right. good evening, and good evening again. This is Cassandra Williams, aka Coach Kiss, mwah, and welcome to another broadcast of the Kiss Corner. If you have not joined me before, first and foremost, I welcome you. Um, and just to give you a little insight, the Kids Corner has been established as a safe space for, excuse me, women like me who have come out of toxic relationships and are ready to put in the work necessary to elevate to a higher version of themselves. And so essentially, that is the cornerstone of the Kiss Corner. And so I welcome you. If you are joining me on Facebook, please go to your comment section. Give me those likes, those loves, those cares. Give me a what's up, hey girl, how you doing? Uh, Much appreciated. So we can get this algorithm moving out there on Facebook. If you are on YouTube with the Empowered Voices Network, excuse me, again, hit that like, subscribe, and share, right? Definitely somebody is going to be able to benefit, is my prayer that they're able to benefit from what I'm able to share. And I'm simply just sharing my life experiences in the hopes that somebody else is able to learn and not having to necessarily traverse as many errors as I did, or just to know that you're not alone, right? You often are in situations where you think nobody else is dealing with this, nobody else is going through this. You're not the only one. So sometimes there's just a comfort in knowing that. So, whatever the case may be, welcome, welcome, and welcome again. Listen, I was not on last Sunday. My apologies. I really try to minimize it because I'm doing my best to maintain consistency, right? But last Sunday, though we have been in school for 2 weeks prior, it was kind of a lot of the getting to know you stages, and I'm still putting in work in the background, but it's something that hits a little bit different when you come into that day before you get to that real first day of school and the curriculum work starts and all those things. And so, between that and my own children getting prepared for the same and last minute little things that we kind of had to put together, it was just a lot going on. And so, my apologies for missing last week, but full transparency, that week before school starts is really just no joke. And so I had to give myself a little bit of grace, and I hope that you did too. So, that being said, here we are, the second Sunday of September. Like, oh my God, this year is booming past. Second Sunday of September is the middle of the month already, right? And this month has already been full of reminders for me personally about life, legacy, and what it means to keep moving forward. So, just a few weeks ago on September 2nd, my brothers and I, we threw a surprise 70th birthday party for my mother. And she has never had a party, at least in as far as I know, as an adult. So to watch her walk into our surprise party space, right? Um, Completely shocked, surrounded by people from every chapter of her life. It was absolutely priceless. And it's so funny because she was standing there and she's like, ah, oh my God. And the people are walking up to her and she's walking around the room and the DJ is going. And the DJ was hot, y'all. The DJ was hot. And my youngest brother, Elijah, before she came in, he gets on the mic to everyone and he's like, listen, mama's on her way in. She's probably going to stand here and cry for about 25 minutes. So we going to have to push her along. And so she comes in with my younger brother, Imare. He brings her in because we were in a restaurant, but we were in a hotel space. And she walks in. Of course, we're surprised and happy birthday to you and the whole nine. And she's, oh my God, oh my God. And the tears and the smiles and the tears and the tears. And then she break out a little two-step, right? And we were like, and so so all of this is happening. People are coming up to her. Some people she hasn't seen in over 20 years. Some folks came from out of town, flew in that day just to come and pay her flowers while she is still able to smell them, right? That's a big thing for my mom. She's always like, let me enjoy my flowers while I'm alive so I can enjoy the beauty that they bring. And so she's crying and doing all the things and screaming at every person that walks up. And my brothers and I are kind of standing nearby and we're recording and we're laughing. We're like, oh, we got her, we got her. And she looks over at us and she has all this bright smile for everybody else. And then she turns her back and she looks at the three of us and she's like, I'm going to kill y'all. And she goes back into it. So she does this throughout the night. I'm going to kill y'all. Yes. So it was, again, it was indeed priceless, right? So all of that being said, just let me give you a little bit of background about my mom. Now I've spoken about her this summer. I did a whole series about what I've learned from my mother as I am in my adulthood and the things that I have seen about her, moving from looking at her through a child's eyes and through a teenager's eye. Like here I am in midlife, right? And so as I'm getting older, of course, so is she. And so we're seeing things, I see things a lot differently and in many ways a lot more clearly than I was able to before, especially as I began to go through my own life experiences, right? And so a little bit about my mom. She is the last living member of her immediate family. She lost her mom when she was, I believe, about 12 or 13. She lost her dad when she was about 18. And there were five children. And out of the five, my mom is the last one living. She lost her four siblings within about I want to say a 5, maybe 6 year time frame. Um, Two of them passed away just a few months apart in the same year. And then my aunt, Elizabeth, she passed away just a few years ago. No, last year. The time is going. I believe it was last February. So, for her to reach this milestone was a lot. And yet she's still standing. And then to top all of that off, she is also an ovarian cancer survivor. She's been in remission 10 years now, and that I know for sure because when I came to see her after she had gotten the initial diagnosis, I came back to Detroit with my kids, who at the time I only had two, and my youngest then was only 7 months old, and she's 10 years old now. So, she's been in remission for these last 10 years, and that's just not even the tip of the iceberg of all the things that my mom that I could speak to about her life. I mean, but that's her story to tell. But just to give you some background as to what resilience looks like for me, in seeing that in my mother. And so when I watched her walk into the room, all surprised and overwhelmed and just being loved on by people from every corner of her life, with her feeling like, hey, there was a point in time in my life where I never thought I would be here. There was a point in time where I thought I would be the first one to go, excuse me, of her four other siblings, and all the things, and for all of their children and their children's children to be present for her in that moment. It really hit me as I'm standing there and I'm looking at all of this and feeling that was really the thing, not just to see it, but to feel the love in the air and to see it being so poured on someone who is so deserving. It's like, this is what legacy looks like. right? This is really what it looks like. This is what it is. It's not just surviving, but it's living. It's not just carrying pain, but it is passing down strength. Because my mom could have shut down years ago, and many people would have for the many experiences she's had in her life. But yet, here she is, we're thinking she's just about to be so enveloped in tears, and she's having her tears and doing her two-step and her three-step and her five-step, like all at the same time. And it was so cool because, again, it reminded me of the strength that I'm leaning on right now, right? It took courage for me to leave New York and bring my children back here. And that didn't just show up out of nowhere. That's legacy. That is absolutely my mom's resilience flowing through me. And I don't mean that in a selfish way to take away from her moment, but it just hit me at the time like the power of what we were witnessing and my take on it. Like I said, through my lens, right? Through my own life experience, and praying that I get to be the same way and beyond, and that she has many more to come, and that I too can reach a milestone of 70 years, as I'm just still approaching 50, right? So yeah, it was wonderful. Um, and so it makes you remember that family legacies can hold both pain and strength. Again, my mom's story reminds me of both. She lost a lot, but she also taught me that survival isn't the end goal, right? The end goal is not to survive, the end goal is to live and to thrive in your life. And so that has always stuck with me because, think about it, like survival says I made it through. Right? That's what that is essentially. Survival is being able to make it, and that's nothing short, right? You have to make it through certain situations in order to be able to speak to what life is on the other side of that. But thriving says that not only did I make it through, but I'm making my life and my time count, right? I'm going beyond just making it through, but now I'm actually taking what I've survived and living it, living through it, living beyond it, and still living my life in spite of, and learning the lessons that have come through it and using that to help you grow along your path. I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not. Right. And so now it's my responsibility and yours too. I'm going to say that again. My responsibility and yours as well to take that strength and to do something with it. And I was just having this conversation with PJ before we came on about how sometimes the fear of things can stagnate me. And I have to learn to move beyond that because there's too much strength and resilience that I live with and that has been passed through me beyond my mother. There are many generations I could speak about, both of my grandmothers and my great grandmother. I had the fortune of knowing those women, some of them in my lifetime. And so we again have to be able to take the strength, and no matter what else comes along with it, use that as our resolve to move forward. Because the truth is, we've all inherited things, all of us. Some of us inherited strength, some of us inherited silence, some of us inherited trauma, some of us inherited faith, some of us inherited fear. And maybe there's some combination thereof, but whatever you've inherited, you also have the power to decide what you will pass on. And that's the beauty of it, right? The beauty of choice and decision and the power to know, hey, this is my situation, but this is what I want to work on that I can pass forward as a part of my legacy. Now, do I feel like we have complete control over that? Because now you're talking about next generations. Not entirely, but we do have a hand in it, I believe. And so, again, you don't have to pass down everything you were given, because some of those things you may, I mean, I think we've all inherited some level of all of those things, right? But we can break cycles that don't serve us. You can break cycles that don't serve you. And you can honor the sacrifices of those who came before you by choosing differently. You can decide that the story doesn't stop at survival, it blossoms into legacy. And that legacy isn't built in one big moment, it's built in everyday choices. How you show up when you're tired. PJ, we were just talking about this. How you speak when you're angry. How you treat people when no one is watching. How you choose to forgive or not. How you pour into your children, your students, your family, your community. That's the blueprint of legacy. And so I'm going to pause here for a moment and ask you, what are you building right now? And I promise you, in as much as I am asking this question aloud, right? I mean it for myself as well. So this is not me standing on some soapbox and talking down to anyone. Like, I'm just sharing. And I really genuinely believe that somebody out there can relate and will get something positive from this. So, that question again is, what are you building right now? Not just what are you surviving, but what are you creating? Because the truth is, somebody is watching you. Your kids are watching. I know for sure mine are watching, listening, taking notes, and running it back. And they'll repeat it within context or not, but they are definitely watching. Sidebar, here's how I know, right? My youngest daughter, she's 7 years old. And I don't know if I've said this to you guys. I am a teacher. I know I've mentioned that. This year, she is in my second grade class. It's my second year as a second grade teacher. And she's in my class this year. And a couple of days ago, we were getting dressed for school. And she comes over to me. She's such an old soul, right? Old soul, old spirit. And she comes to me, and I forgot what the initial conversation was that she started with me, but as we were talking, she says, and she was referencing like one of her friends or something, and she says, "You know what, mama? They got the right wrong one with you." She's 7, and I'm looking, and I said, "Wait a minute. Say that again. What did you say?" And she looks, and she had this cute little smile on her face, and she says, "He got the right wrong one with you." And I said, "Do you know what that means?" Because I've said it. I've said it before. And she was like, "Yeah, I completely understand what that means." Now, granted, she used it in proper context in the whole nine, but I just needed to know. And I said, "Well, you tell me, what do you think that is?" And she was like, "That the people are not going to get over on you." Right. And so they got the right person to try the wrong things with. 7 years old. They got the right person to try the wrong things with because you're not going to take it. And so she says, and mama, that's the same for me too. People, sometimes I got to let them know. Don't ask me how she woke up on this soapbox. Sometimes I got to let them know. You got the right, wrong one with me. And so when I say that as we are creating, as we're building, as we're evolving in our lives, as we're developing legacy, be it intentional or not, because just our mere existence allows us to be able to do so. Now, whether it's purposeful is a whole nother issue, but it's happening, right? And so we want to make it count. So when I said the truth is somebody's watching you, your kids are watching, they are listening, they are soaking it all in, they are running it through their minds. Those synapses are kicking in and they are making meaning of what they're seeing and what they're hearing. Eh, Okay, that was just one example, right? And so we have to be mindful of the fact that, again, our kids are watching, your friends are watching. In as much as we are watching someone else is watching us. And so even the people that you don't know are watching. And I know this from being here in the complex. I was walking a lot. And I would sometimes go out to the local park and they have a walking trail out there and the kids would come out with me. And because it's the playground, we can mix it up a little bit. I'll go take my walk and they play on the playground and what have you. And then sometimes one by one, excuse me, they would come out on the track and walk with me, on the trail rather. And sometimes I wouldn't go out to the park. I would stay in the complex depending on the time, if we didn't have time to do all of that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my walk in regardless. So we'll just walk around the complex. And again, you're not really thinking much of it. You focused on what you're doing, right? And what you're trying to do. And my mom was getting what's the word I'm trying to, excuse me, y'all, it's kicking in. My mom's neighbors were checking in with her and they were complimenting her to say, hey, we see your daughter out here and she's really been doing her thing with her walking. And we also see these three babies who are always following behind her. It felt like a mother duckling family, it's me and then my son and then my daughter and then my other daughter. And they literally are following me as I'm walking the path around the complex. And these are people who I had no idea they were seeing us through their windows and what have you. As far as I was concerned, nobody was really paying us any attention. And so the fact that they not only noticed what I was doing, but they were telling my mom, hey, we really commend her for showing her children how to develop a healthy habit of going out here and being intentional in her walking and in her wellness, and to see that pass on to another generation as they follow her diligently, and sometimes she's following them, and they seem to be having fun, but at the same time they're really doing a hard workout and really putting in the work. You never know who's watching and what they're taking away from it. And what started happening? Other people slowly, and again, I'm not saying this didn't happen before we moved here, but very noticeably, a few more people would start walking around the complex. And so you never know what little things we do create such a big movement, right? So again, even the people you don't know are watching and they're learning from your choices about what's possible, something even that simple. So tonight, I'm asking you to make a declaration with me. If you are committed to building a legacy that looks like strength, that looks like joy, that looks like freedom, type the word build in the chat or in the comments. Build because survival is not the finish line. Build because your legacy is bigger than your pain. Build because someone coming after you needs a new pattern to follow. I'm going to say that one again. Build because someone coming after you needs a new pattern to follow. We are not just inheritors of legacy, we are architects of legacy. And tonight, I challenge you to choose to build. So you can see I sat with this for a bit. And as I have sat with my thoughts on this and celebrating my mom and noticing some of my own growth and being honest about the struggles that still exist in my own life, I've realized this. We don't get to choose only joy or hardship. Most of the time, they're braided together, right? But what we do get to choose is how we show up in the middle of it. That's what we get to choose, how we show up in the midst. And so I want you to think this week about one place where you've been holding back out of fear. And instead of shrinking back, and this is indeed a challenge to myself, I want you to choose growth. Even if it's a baby step, because baby steps still move you forward. And let's close with this affirmation. I choose growth even when it feels uncomfortable. I'll say it again. I choose growth even when it feels uncomfortable. And if that really speaks with you, just type growth in the chat or in the comments before we head out today. So, when we talk about legacy, it's not just about what we leave behind for our families. It's also about what we pour into the communities we're a part of right now. And that's why I created the Kiss Corner and why I connected it with Empowered Voices, Finding Strength in Survivors. This work is about building something bigger than me, and it's about building something bigger than you. It's about creating a space where stories of resilience, healing, and thriving can be shared to strengthen all of us. But here's the truth. Legacies aren't built alone. They are built together. And this is where you come in. If you've been touched, encouraged, or strengthened by what happens here every Sunday, I want to invite you to be a part of that building process with me. So on the screen right now, you'll see the link where you can become a sponsor of the Empowered Voices Network. And if you're watching on Facebook, you'll see the link right there in the comments as well. By sponsoring, you are helping our network to continue to share stories, uplift voices, and make sure that women everywhere know that they don't have to stop at survival. They can thrive, they can build, and they can rise. So tonight, I'm asking you, don't just watch legacy happen. Be part of building it. Click on the links, type in the link, whatever it is you need to do. If you need to take a quick snapshot and then come back to it, do whatever you need to do to partner with us so that we can keep building together. So as I close this evening, I've thought a lot about my mom turning 70 and about her journey and where I am in my own journey. And it reminded me that every single one of us is building a legacy. As long as we are here, you are building a legacy. Again, whether it's very intentional or not, may be a whole nother issue, but your existence allows you passively or actively to build legacy. We don't always get to choose what's handed to us, but we do get to choose what we build with it. And I believe, matter of fact, I know for a fact that the best is still ahead. Even if it seems scary, if it seems intangible, it's not. We just have to put those big girl panties on and move forward in faith. And it's sometimes a lot easier said than done, but it's possible. And I know it's possible if for no other reason than the fact that I am still here right now, and not just physically here, but here through both my Facebook Live and the Empowered Voices Network, because I know who the sister that works on the other side of that as well. And when I tell you resilience is strength, it is. Because this network wouldn't exist without her. And you all have no idea what she does behind these scenes. Okay? So I know that the best is still ahead for all of us. Thank you for sharing this space with me tonight. And thank you for choosing to walk this journey together. Remember, your worth is real, your voice matters, your legacy is already being written with every choice you make. So please continue to be well as you elevate along your healing journey. Join me again right here next week, same back time, same back station, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on Facebook with Cassandra Williams, aka Coach Kiss, mwah, and on YouTube with the Empowered Voices Network. We'll be back with more. Please feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Give me those likes, those loves, those cares. And if you're checking us out on Facebook and you've not made the live, just give me a hashtag replay in the comments again so we can get this algorithm pushing us out there. I thank you for your time. I hope that this has been beneficial to you in as much as it has been beneficial to me to share my journey with you. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Cassandra Williams, aka Coach Kiss. Mwah. See you next week. Same back time.